about the only way that
Make your own list? I'm gonna make my own list when... but I can't find the thing. But I'm just gonna tell you what... He's gonna tell him what he said, then I'm gonna say what I say, so...
really find a distinct way to measure the differences between some of these healers. It was actually such a close race. Even after the results.
It's not close at all. Resto, Druid, and Mistweaver are the most broken healers of all time. Our Shaman is right behind that. Disc Priest is right there, too. Holy Paladin is the most garbage healer, and even a Rogue is better than it.
So the most recent AWC, we could see that the healers were a lot more evenly balanced than they were previously in Shadowlands.
So, Resto Druid would be... I'm trying to think if Mistweaver or Resto Druid is even more broken, actually. Like... The things Mistweaver can do now is so insane, it's unreal. Like, being able to port while in stun, the healing output, if you get off one heal as a Mistweaver, you're full health. And you use no mana. Mistweaver might even be better than Resto Druid. It might actually be better. The thing is, Mistweaver can literally never run out of mana. Resto Druid can after like 20 minutes. But then Resto Druid can't get sheeped. But then Mistweaver is so broken it actually can run Relentless with some comps. Especially if you're human. Holy Priest is insanely good too, and even better than Disc Priest. Holy Priest is the most broken thing in life. I don't know. These four healers are all like... I would say Resto Shaman is the only healer that's a little bit less than Resto Druid and Mistweaver and Holy Priest. Only because, maybe not, because they have that Earth Ellie that just one-shots you too. I don't even know. They're really all about the same. And, I guess our Shame can eventually run out of mana. Barely. They're all so good besides H-Pal. Disc Priest and H-Pal, the only two that would be worse. But then Disc Priest still so good because you can play Rogue Mage. But Disc Priest definitely worse than Holy Priest. As Disc Priest, you'd run out of mana faster than Holy Priest. You don't have the Chastise stun. It's so insanely broken because you can play Rogue Mage with Holy Priest. And you can just Chastise Fear and get all the pressure from that. It's the most broken thing in life. So you don't even... And, like, it's so hard to even predict because you can do it from across the map. So the only prediction you can even have is if the priest, like, moves a little bit towards you. But, like... So I would say Mistweaver... Probably the best healer. Then Resto Druid, then Holy Priest, then Resto Shaman. H-Pal is Z tier. Disc Priest is A tier. Let's see what...
And they continue to...
I know he's going to say, like, Mistweaver... I guarantee he's going to say Mistweaver's, like, A tier. Because he's delusional.
To become more balanced moving forward as I see more...
Because he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand, like, if or the revival thing, too. Mistweavers have a revival now that make you immune to CC for, like, 4 seconds. It's so crazy.
Popping up, even though some of them may be less popular. So let's just go ahead and start the tier list off here. We've got the Disciplined Priest. This is a healer that focuses on aggression. It does damage to heal through atonement. It is a very fun healing specialization. It's probably still my number one go-to.
There's not a single fun healing specialization on besides Big Damn Judge.
For like a really fun time as a healer, especially if you're somebody who maybe...
That's why I don't understand how anyone even plays any of these other healers. All these healers are literally hell on earth to play besides H-Pal. Like, when you play Arshane, you're literally standing there doing absolutely nothing. Switching Earthshield to a target is the most boring... Resto Druid is the most boring healer of all time. Like, putting up 3 stacks of Life Bloom is like the most boring thing you could ever do.
To pick up healing, but you like doing damage, and you don't want to give up that feeling.
I guess Disc Priest is more fun than like everything besides H-Pal.
Kind of pumping out a ton of pressure. You can still get that with a Disciplined Priest, but also find groups a little bit easier. But because of it having such a distinct strength, it also comes with a very big drawback, which is its mana and its ability to kind of stand for long engagements. And because of this, I think it holds it back from being on the S tier. Also, its versatility. So it's not a healer that you're going to really play with every other spec in the
Only
game.
rogue mage.
The best compositions
Well,
for it
and you can
are
play
rogue mage priest and
feral
hunter priest.
warrior.
But even those
and
compositions,
jungle.
you're competing with your other spec,
Yeah, holy.
the holy priest. So I think that you're held back on versatility. And
Holy
you're
priest
held
is
back,
better.
On your mana.
Having fade is the most broken thing. Having fade is just like the Mistweavers having revival, but even better. I mean, fade is worse than revival. Revival is the most insane thing of all time, but then revival is a longer cooldown than fade. But fade is just so insane. Having it on a 45-second cooldown, and then having holy ward too. When you have holy ward and you're playing with a mentally challenged mage who doesn't even have opposable thumbs or a keyboard, and he's playing on a tree stump, that mage will never purge the Holy Ward, and you'll never be able to get CC on the Holy Priest. I'll literally have to CC off the Holy Ward myself with my Hodge and Blinding Light. It's insane.
Kind of withhold or be able to withstand longer engagements, but you are a bit tankier than Holy, which does give you a little bit more of an advantage. Holy, that would be Holy Priest. But for me at the moment, I think I can feel.
I don't even think you're tankier than Holy.
Priest onto the
you're like
tier.
about the same.
Phenomenal healer, great performer. In my mind, this is kind of where you would want a healer.
It's just when you play jungle and you play rogue mage, it's so insanely broken. It doesn't matter. You can actually play rogue mage with a resto shaman. Like
it's got this really cool, awesome strength, and a very mirrored weakness or drawback that you need to play around and fit yourself into certain compositions and niches to be able to perform. So
don't ever say niches.
Really like where Discipline Priest has landed. I think that you'll still have a good time with it. I think if you're on S tier, it means that there's probably just one thing that's kind of holding you into the bonkers level at the moment. Now, Holy Paladin. If he says S tier, still doing really well competitively.
It's so you run out of mana within literally in the opening starting gates. Your cooldowns can get killed through instantaneously. If you bop yourself, a rogue mage can purge it instantly. Kitty shot you on it, then you'll have to bubble. Then you have to trinket on top of that. Their Hodge is so bad that you have to use Wogs to get your Hodge back because you have to use healing that you might not need to use. So, and then you have to waste more of your mana because if you have to use your Wog when you don't need to use the healing, like I'll have to Wog when my characters are at full health just to get my Hodge back. And then that wastes more of my mana because then I have to Holy Shock and Crusader Strike more. And they made Crusader Strike cost more mana than Holy Shock. So now you have to Crusader Strike. It costs like 4% of your mana every single Crusader Strike. It's insane. And you have to waste all your mana getting your Hodge back. It's literally the most disgusting thing. I don't know why they don't make it like WoD, where you could use Denounce and you could the WoD was castable and put up damage reduction. Is so much fun.
Tournaments for those that have really been dedicated to it, but a lot of people that re-rolled to Paladin to compete have re-rolled back away from it.
Yes, Campali is terrible.
You run out of mana faster than Discipline Priest. You run out of mana so fast. You are in the shortest battery ever. Comparatively to the...
And think about it. You think about what he's saying right now. I keep my team alive for like 15 minutes. I'm the best Pally to ever live.
Priest, what you really add is damage. I'm seeing a lot of Holy Paladins now shifting towards Necro Lord. This might continue as a trend into patch 9.2 with the set bonuses, also catering more into the Vanquisher's Hammer's bonuses, and it may just become a healer that's all about doing damage. It's much like the Discipline Priest. But
I already do big damage. The thing is, I fought Necrolord Pallies. They don't even do 1/7 of my big damn judges.
Control is a lot more limited because you need to get maybe a little bit closer to the engagement, and because of this, you don't have Shadow or Death. You don't have the Holy Ward. You can't.
Yeah, you get CC for 45 seconds without even being able to do anything.
And your mana is weaker, so this is already taking you 2 steps down.
Such a terrible spell.
But I would say that your flexibility, your versatility is a little bit higher. Generally, you're playing with
mages,
give it but you can slot in the Windwalkers in that slot. You can slot in Warriors. You can slot in Rogues. You can play with a lot of more variety in my mind.
But it really is terrible.
But still, you're going to have a shorter leash in terms of longevity in a fight, and you're really going to struggle to avoid crowd control. So for me, I think it gets held back.
Oh, you actually put it in a B.
Onto the B tier at the moment. This may change again.
Because people like Van Rookie, they're absolutely clueless. They're like, I think Holy Pally is so good. Oh, I'm having so much fun playing Holy Pally. I'd love to eat my vegan cow tongue.
Too, but at the moment, I feel confident putting there. It's not to say that this isn't a healer that's going to be getting rank 1, though.
Well, of course, the Meister's playing it.
Again, the win.
So you want to know where to invest $1,000 right now? Well, forget about stocks, real estate, or cryptocurrency.
Walker Fire Mage Holy Paladin is still such a powerful composition that you can, if you want to master that one,
It's only good with people who do big damn.
You're going to go the distance with it. But if you're really looking at it as a standalone healer, I think that it's clear that it's the weaknesses that it have are going to hold it back to the rest of the healers currently. Now, Holy Priest, slight mana problem.
So it's S tier.
Really as bad as Holy
so
Paladin
good.
or Disciplined Priest. Its major weakness is getting attacked by melee cleaves, so just kind of getting rushed down and run down. That is going to be the one point that kind of holds it back from being onto the S tier. If it wasn't like that, if it was sturdy and bolstered, then I would say that it is an S tier healer. It is a lot more flexible. You can run the spell cleaves because you're not going to run out of mana. You provide the range stun. You can run the Rogue Mage Priest. You can run the jungle. So you're very flexible and versatile.
It's without a doubt an S tier healer.
If you are looking to pick up a healer,
it's just not as good as Resto, Druid, Mistweaver.
Highly competitive.
Well,
major drawback.
It's really just as good because of the comps you can run, but.
So if you panic when you're getting attacked, maybe it's not the best healer to pick up.
Well, of course you're going to panic super fast. You see your head.
S tier, but I would rank it as one of the best A tier healers at the moment. Now, Mistweaver Monk, this is one that's kind of been under hot debate for a while now. Like, is it
so good?
Kind of trash? Where is Mistweaver Monk going to be going here? Still, to me,
as soon as they added in the revival, and they added in port while stunned, you can port every single setup while stunned. It's literally impossible to kill a Mistweaver. You have to outplay them so hard, and you'll still lose.
A layer of identity that it used to have with things like Way of the Crane, where it could get in and start punching people and be aggressive in that sense.
That was a terrible talent.
The Eminence Healing Legendary is really not delivering on that.
A terrible talent. Way of the Crane was terrible.
At the moment, and not really adding that extra layer, and because of that, you kind of struggle to have this kind of niche place where you're the best healer to have in that situation. You can be very powerful because you almost never run out of mana. And very
you literally can't. How do they make this possible? They literally make H-Spells run out of mana within 1 minute. You literally cannot run out of mana. No how many heals you spam, and every single heal you get off automatically tops you.
Cleaves. You start to struggle when enemies can start to get on top of you, especially the Rogue Mage. It's always been kind of a tough one for Mistweaver, even being able to port while stunned now, and there were a lot of improvements to the weaknesses of Mistweaver, but you're still
they literally improved all the weaknesses and made it the best healer.
Right now, my biggest debate is whether or not to put it on B or C. I think strength with basically infinite mana, it would take a lot to run out of mana. I think Mistweaver might be
the
most mana retentive spec at the moment for a healer, and if you're able to just sit in the back and heal,
which you can be, that's all you do.
Output in the game, but unfortunately, it's all about crowd control and burst damage, which means that your high output will be reduced to 0 when you want it to be at its highest, just long enough that the target that you want to heal is going to die.
Wrong.
So
if you get up in an enveloping mist before the setup, your teammate cannot die.
Go well with the current meta. If that ever shifts to where it's a throughput meta, Mistweaver's going up to the S tier. Having infinite mana, infinite throughput is like, that's going to be the number one. But right now, the meta just doesn't fit to that strength. And because you don't have that extra layer to form like a niche where the Mistweaver is the best pick, I think it falls short of Holy. At the moment, I'm seeing Mistweaver playing Warrior Mage. It's playing Frost Mage Demo. But even in those positions, it's usually better to have a Druid.
It's playing, you can play Jungle. I've seen Jungle. It's so hard. It's way harder to beat. Mistweaver Jungle with Relentless is way harder to beat than Disc Priest Jungle or Holy Priest Jungle. It's the most broken thing in life. There's just another layer of annoying things that you have to deal with. And if they ever get out of CC, you'll never kill the target. And not only that, Feral Warrior Mistweaver is so good. You can just infinitely truck someone while being able to do whatever you want.
Or a Holy Priest. It does bring in the Paralyze, so it can instantly crowd control one target of the enemy team, and that's why it works in those compositions, is because everyone in that team is picking a target to control, and they're all able to do it with basically unpreventable measures, and you're able to run the team down.
Can play Shadow Priest,
measures, which is
DK,
allowing I think that's what
Mistweaver too.
Up from going down into the D tier, up right now into the B tier. Now we're looking at Resto Druid. I think right now Resto Druid is going to be the best healer on average, even though it actually didn't win any of the recent tournaments. I think that Resto Druid is...
Resto Druid is so disgustingly broken. Can never run out of mana, can go get restelts whenever you want, infinite mobility, can't get sheeped unless you're really bad druids like Fatafors. Have infinite CC, Can literally backpedal in the middle of the map, get kicked, and not die no matter what you do. Has 17 auto frenzy regens. Resto Druid is so disgustingly broken.
Durable healer.
And can play so many comps.
With anything when you are being personally attacked. It's a great healer for single target output. You can generally avoid casting, which means that you can't be susceptible to being interrupted because you have access to stealth. You can deal with one of the weaknesses, which may be running out of mana. But with the legendary right now that everyone is running, the Verdant Infusion, your ability to extend your heal over time effects means that you're not spending mana reapplying them, and you can just kind of like, oh, that guy's fully hotted. I'm on vacation over here. And yeah, that's kind of what ends up happening with Resto Druid, and I think that's what's putting it into the bonkers level, is the ability to just extend your hots for such a dramatic amount of time that you can just leave the fight, go into stealth, and you know that target isn't going to be dying. So that's, to me, one of the main things that puts it up there at the moment. And because it has ways to correct its weaknesses, like going into stealth to be able to drink, means that it doesn't really have any. And it falls into the S tier at the moment.
Such a broken class.
Restoration Shaman. Restoration Shaman, again, its problem is more or less throughput. This is a healer that if you're not ready for it, you might be panicked picking it up. It can be...
What do you have to panic about? Just sitting bare form and backpedal into the wall and you win every game.
Very aggressive, especially if you want to run the Earthquake Elemental Legendary, where you send out an Earthquake, Rock Elemental that's going to be doing a tremendous amount of damage, and you want to get aggressive with Flame Shock and Lava Burst
Also
and add
broken.
a lot of damage and be super aggro and try and just bowl the enemy team over. You can do that.
We farm Mistweaver Kitty into the ground, kid. You don't win a single game,
I've
kid.
seen a lot of teams running the Demon Hunter Warrior, and now actually a lot more Boomkin Demon Hunter.
Yeah, it's so broken.
As well as Windwalker. Boomkin seems to be the Boomkin healer at the moment, although you can slot it out for Resto Druid, which again is why it goes up under the S tier. Your mana is going to be very solid, much better than any of the other A tier or B tier healers. Aside from Mistweaver, I think Mistweaver would take the award for mana. But you can sometimes get overwhelmed by the amount of damage, and a lot of your cooldowns, you're going to be like, wait, did that actually do anything? You're going to put like an Earthen Wall Totem down and think like, oh, you're fine. Oh, okay, no, you're not. And it's mostly...
not true at all. If you time your Earthen Shield Totem and you put it down at 100% health, you will never get killed through it. Ever. No matter how much damage there.
Because the crit threshold at the moment, like people are critting for 30k, and Earthen Wall Totem...
You're a terrible player, Easy. You've never been rank 1 and you never will be. Get out of my shack, peasant. Go put yourself in a barn.
Really
go eat some more kale.
Spells that are that high in terms of crit value. So Earthen Wall Totem has lost a lot of value. And that was one of your major defensives. Can also get a bit frustrating because of having to position your totems on the ground. Although, at the same time, that to me is kind of what mechanically identifies and gives a niche to Shaman, is having these like positional requirements for the defensive cooldowns. That actually is what makes it cool and unique, although it is a bit of a weakness. The advantages of those totems should then kind of shore that up to be...
There's literally no disadvantage of totems. You put an Earth Grab down on the ground, it roots your entire team, you run around, it slows you for 30 seconds. It's the most broken thing in life.
A strength and as well as a weakness. But for me, I think Resto Shaman is probably coming in about middle of the pack on the A tier. Because of those...
Resto Shaman is ass without a doubt.
Coming up on the rise.
So, Super Fat got it all wrong. It goes Mistweaver at the start, or they're tied maybe.